And I also think like birthdays in general can trigger people to become really anxious. And honestly, I'm definitely someone who suffers from birthday anxiety and birthday breakdowns. Being anxious isn't fun. It's not great. Why is it that when we're little, we really enjoy birthdays, and then the older we get, and this is in my own personal experience as well, like why are birthdays becoming more and more scary? And I've linked a lot of my birthday with achievements. Like, what are the things that I've achieved this year? However, birthdays never used to be like this. Welcome back to the podcast. Hi, I'm Preeti, and if you're new here, this podcast is all about sharing South Asian stories, and it's called It's Pretty Personal. And I'm Preeti. I am a British born Sikh Punjabi girl who has been born and raised in London. And today we are talking about birthdays. So, the summer is when I actually celebrate my birthday, and I've been thinking more and more about birthdays. So, a lot of what I've been thinking about is like, why is it that when we're little, we really enjoy birthdays, and then the older we get, and this is in my own personal experience as well, like, why are birthdays becoming more and more scary? And I also want to like kind of reminisce and kind of think about how were birthdays before? What are birthdays like now? Why is there almost this pressure of birthdays? And also, I'm turning 30, so this is actually a big milestone birthday for me. So, if you're new to the podcast, please don't forget to follow and subscribe. And if you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, don't forget to leave it a 5-star rating and a review, because reviews really do help podcasts grow. So, yeah, let's get into the episode. So, in general, I really love my birthday. I think growing up, my family always made birthdays really special. And there was always cake, which like the inner foodie in me like loved. And it was really fun. Like, it was really fun to be like, oh my God, I'm getting older, especially as a kid, because you kind of don't want to be a kid. So you're like, oh my God, yes, one step closer to like being an adult. And I feel like it's almost the opposite the older we get, because I think there's almost like a lot on social media around, oh my God, we're aging and we're doing this and we're getting older and oh no. But I actually think it's such a privilege to be able to turn older, because during that time, you kind of like learn, you grow, you develop, you meet new people, you experience new things. And I think birthdays are such a good time to kind of mark all of the amazing things that you've done in that year before. However, saying that, I do think in my 20s, I've actually put a lot of my self worth and a lot of like my birthdays, especially coming up to my birthdays. I think I always kind of look back and I'm like, okay, like this is everything I've done. But I've linked a lot of my birthday with achievements. Like, what are the things that I've achieved this year? And I think that's also kind of taken away from like just the essence of like getting older, and always kind of just focusing on like the goal and the milestone and not thinking about like the experiences. And so what I used to do in my 20s, oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that. But what I've been doing for the last couple of years is actually going through my camera roll and being like, oh, this happened and that happened, the good and the bad. And it's a really nice way to kind of put the year in perspective. And I feel like birthdays are also just one of those like times, especially in the year, where like all your friends can come together and all the people that you love can come together. Because I'm not gonna lie, most people are really busy these days. So like I feel like birthdays is one of those celebrations where everyone comes together and you can get to celebrate with some of your favorite people. However, birthdays never used to be like this. So birthdays growing up were ever evolving. So I feel like they're kind of been tiers. So it's like the baby and the kids' birthdays, the teen birthdays, the birthdays at uni, and then the birthdays like within my 20s. So as like a kid, like whenever we used to celebrate birthdays, it would be like very, very wholesome and with family. So it used to be like a summer house party, picnic kind of vibe, where like there will be like 90s bhangra music in my living room. Like people will be cooking in the kitchen, the kids will be playing in the garden. And then all of like, there will be like, because my birthday used to actually be like during like the football tournaments. There would always be a football match on TV. There'll be people playing cards. And it was just so cute. It was just such a nice way to like bring everyone together. Not like I remember any of this, but this is what like the VCRs have showed me. But then at the same time, like it was just like very much copy paste of every single year. And the birthday was absolutely the same. So what I mean by that is like it will be the same birthday decorations. We'll cut cake in exactly the same place. It would be the same cake from the local bakery. But at the same time, I used to look forward to it like so much. And I think as a kid, like you're just so excited because you get presents and everyone gives you presents and cards, and you're like, you feel really special that day. And I think also I am such a foodie. So for me, I just love the idea of that. Like 25 or 30 people are going to feed me cake. And I think one of my family traditions, and I don't know if this is like a South Asian thing or Punjabi thing or just my family thing, but like everyone would feed you cake. And it would just be really cute to be like, everyone would line up and feed you cake. But then when I went to university, and I remember we celebrated my birthday with my friends, and I'd be like, oh, are you guys not going to feed me cake? And they're like, no, why? And I was like, wait, hold on, hold on. This is not like a universal thing. Like, this isn't just like everyone feeds cake. And they're like, no, we don't do that in like our culture or our like families. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, so I really love that tradition as well of like everyone just like feeding you cake. The living room like turning into like a dance floor, listening to like old 90s bhangra music on like cassette tapes, and then you had to like rewind it back and then get to play the song again. And it was just like really cute and like really wholesome. And I think when we got older, so this is kind of like primary school, secondary school time, we still did the family birthday parties, which was just like in the evenings, and we would like cut cake together and people would come over. And again, the same setup, same cake, same layout, same place. I do remember going to other people's birthday parties, and I'm not joking, some of these kids' birthday parties are just like, they were really cool. Like you would have like the really fancy invite, and then you will have like the goodie bag that like you would have like little sweets and toys and stuff that you would like give to everyone. And then there was also like people would like hire out play areas which you can kind of like go and like hang out, and like people used to just do so much, like so much cool stuff. Like, and I would be like, oh, this is really awesome. And this is like really fun as well. And I think also one of the other things or traditions that I remember about birthdays as a kid was at school. So, especially in my school, one of the traditions was if it was your birthday, you had to bring in a box of chocolates for like everyone in your class. But also, the last lesson you got to skip because you would get to go around the whole school and give like sweets or chocolates to the teachers. Which now thinking about it is just kind of like an excuse for the teachers to have like sweets and chocolates. But it was actually really fun because you got to miss like the last lesson of school. And then you always want to be the friend or the kid that goes with the person because they also got to miss the lesson as well. And then when it got to like the teen birthdays, I didn't really celebrate much because a lot of my birthdays were actually during exam time. And I remember my 16th birthday, I was actually like having to do a GCSE maths exam. And that was just like not fun. So a lot of time during my birthday, I was actually on study leave or I was in an exam hall. So I didn't really do much around it. But then again, we'll just celebrate with family. Yeah, and we would just order takeout because I think in my family, takeout was very reserved. Like we didn't actually eat a lot of takeout, and takeout was only for exams, passing exams, and birthdays. And then when we got to like milestone birthdays, like 18 and 21, I actually celebrated those in a gurdwara. So I did like a langar for the community, which is kind of just like a our family would cook food for the local community at the Sikh temple, the Gurdwara. It almost feels like when you turned 18, it was just such a milestone. And I remember like I've had like older cousins turn 18 and people would like gift them keys. And I was thought like, oh, I can't wait for when I get the key. Again, 18, 21 are just so like monumental as well. So again, both of those like big milestone birthdays were actually celebrated in the Gurdwara. And I think for me, it was just also such a like really peaceful and spiritual way to like enter a new year or a new year of my life and to kind of give thanks for the year that I've had. And even now, one of my personal birthday traditions is every birthday I want to go to the Gurdwara just to like say thank you to God and to really kind of reflect and be grateful for the life that I have. So that for me is a very personal birthday tradition. And then also when we go into our 20s, so my birthdays in my 20s has been a bit weird because some of them have actually been in lockdown. And the first half when I was at uni were actually again during exam time. So yeah, I feel like I've only really celebrated my birthday properly like after 25. And I think for that, I've always just done the same thing, which is a picnic in the park. And for me, because again, summer baby, I just want something really low key and like bringing everyone together, which is still fun and wholesome. And not gonna lie, I do feel like there's a lot of expectations now when it comes to birthdays. And I think social media does play a bit massive part in that, where you have to like, it has to be like really like aesthetic and it has to be like super decked out. And you have to take content from like X, Y, and Z. And all I really want to do is just spend time with my friends. And I find it really stressful to organize my birthday and do something for it. And I think sometimes like I don't actually think about it until like the last second. And then I'm like, oh no, like what do I need to do for my birthday? Like, oh. And then I think now having like the knowing the default, which is a picnic, and just knowing that it brings people together, and it's just, I think it's very me. And I think that's also one of the things that I realized, that a lot of times with birthdays, we put so much pressure on it having to be something really cool or something really out there. But I think the best birthdays genuinely are just the ones that it feels like you, and you feel really calm and comfortable. And whether that's a house party, or whether that's a picnic, or whether that's going for dinner, or whatever it is, it has to just be you, is your day. So do it the way that like you want to. But saying that, I do feel like there are some expectations on birthdays. I think the biggest expectation when it comes to birthdays is actually the expectation of doing something. Like there might be times where you feel like your birthday is coming up, but you're not really feeling like you want to celebrate, but you feel like you have to because there's this expectation to do so. And I think one of the things that I've actually realized that when I was doing research for this episode is that within the UK, I think 61% of people, based on a YouGov poll, actually don't really like celebrating their birthdays or don't really care much about their birthdays. And a big part of that is because they don't like being center of attention, or it's really expensive, or they've just had really bad past experiences when it comes to birthdays. So they're kind of just like, I don't really want to do this. It's really weird because I think people celebrate birthdays in different ways. But what I've experienced is that sometimes it does feel like a popularity contest on like how many people can come to your birthday, and you have to like show it on social media. And if not that many people turn up, then you feel like, oh, am I not that loved? Or do people not care about me? And I think, yeah, it really does turn into this kind of like having to show people how much you are loved based on the amount of people who come on your birthdays, which I don't really think should be the expectation. I think the expectation is just do what you feel comfortable with. If you don't feel like celebrating that, yeah, you don't have to. There's no pressure. And I think a lot of times we just put that pressure on ourselves. And I think talking about pressure on myself, I think I also put expectations on birthdays on myself. I think for me, I have been single for every single birthday that I've actually ever had. And in doing so, I have to do a lot of the stuff myself. Like I'm buying my own birthday balloons, and I'm buying my own birthday cake, and I'm planning it all, and I'm doing this by myself, and I'm decorating it all by myself. And I think the older I've gotten, it kind of like when I do that, it kind of makes me feel like, oh, I'm alone, or oh, I'm single. And it really it really like makes that more aware, even though normally I don't think about it and I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool. But at the same time, then I'm also realizing that it's not that deep, and one day that will happen. So it's fine. In saying that, like, I'm so lucky with the friends that I've gotten, because sometimes my friends will just get me a birthday cake, or they'll get me balloons, and they would celebrate, or they would do something for me really quietly, and I don't even have to ask them. And that makes me realize that actually, yeah, I am loved. Yeah, love comes in so many different ways. It isn't just like a romantic love and a romantic partner. It's also the way your family celebrates with you, your friends celebrate with you. And also, like, I'm the oldest girl in a South Asian household. So even when it's just like cutting a cake with my family, I still need to like go with my dad to the grocery shop to choose my birthday cake and to get my birthday cake. So again, I don't think I've ever had like a surprise birthday, because I've always organized everyone else's birthdays. So that also includes my own. So yeah, maybe one of the things that I would really love one day is to have like my own birthday surprise party. I don't think this is an expectation, but it's more of an anxiety. And I think that's because I have different friendship groups. So when all of my friendship groups are coming together for a birthday, sometimes I get anxious because I'm like, oh my God, this feels like a Disney crossover episode where all these different people are coming together. I feel pressure as a host to be like, oh my God, are they all going to get on with one another? I don't want anyone to feel left out. I don't want anyone to feel lonely. And then I take a step back and I realize that actually, I really like them as people. I think they're awesome human beings. So if they're friends with me, then they're most likely going to be friends with one another. So that has taken like the stress away, because and it's actually kind of cute because I think the same people tend to come to like the birthday events every year. So it's almost like an annual get together of all my friends. And then it's like really funny because towards the end, I'd be like, oh, see you next year, I guess. And then it's just a really kind of cute moment as well. Cause I think everyone kind of knows that, oh, yeah, I'm just going to see them like once a year at this ex person's birthday party. And it's actually really nice because you do slowly start to become friends with like new people. And then I'm sure like circles get bigger. And I also think like birthdays in general can trigger people to become really anxious. And I have my trusty iPad here because when I do research, I tend to just like write it all out on my iPad. But birthday anxiety is sometimes known as the birthday blues, and it's a real thing, and it's defined as a short lived spike in low mood, worry, or dread that begins days or weeks before a birthday can even peak, and then it kind of like fades soon after. So, what triggers birthday anxiety? So, I think for me, I've kind of broken it down into three different things around what triggers it. I think the first one is social pressure, and it's the feeling that you're behind in life because you haven't done everything society told you to do by a certain age, whether that's get married, buy a house, get promoted. And because we haven't achieved that, it makes us feel like we're a failure, especially if we put like numbers or ages to certain things. I think the second one is where you are versus where you want to be. So, linking on to the first point where you might have personal goals that you want to achieve by a certain age and then you haven't. For example, if one of your goals was to buy a house by 28 and you haven't achieved that yet, but your parents or your older sibling did that during their time when they were 28, I think what we do is that we compare and we're like, oh, so and so did it. Why haven't I done it? I feel like something to take into consideration is the circumstances and the fact that, like, 50 years ago, I'm sure most people could buy a house at 28. But right now, it is so unaffordable for people at 28 to buy a house, but there's so much expectation to buy a house, especially like if you see the graphs and it's like the way that our salaries have gone up and the way house prices have gone up is so different that is actually in reality is so much more difficult now to even buy a house. I think the third one is especially can resonate with people who've lost a loved one. I think there is this feeling of whenever we celebrate big events that there feels like this lack of presence of a person who's really special to us and a lack of physical presence of that person. So sometimes birthdays become really difficult because if you're still grieving or you've lost someone, I think that is also something that can really kind of make birthdays a lot more anxious and a lot more triggering. And I think the fourth one is loneliness. I think as a generation now, we are becoming a lot more like by ourselves. And I think loneliness is a massive epidemic that is actually happening. And especially if you're far away from home or you've moved abroad or you're by yourself, I think again, seeing people celebrate with loved ones around them on birthdays and feeling as though, oh, I don't have that, or being away from loved ones can also make birthdays really challenging and really difficult. And honestly, I'm definitely someone who suffers from birthday anxiety and birthday breakdowns. And I think for me and my story, it's very much like I tend to feel this dread of birthdays, maybe like 4 to 6 weeks before my birthday. And I feel like, again, it's because I kind of link a lot of achievements to birthdays. Like, what have I achieved this year? What have I done this year? And when I don't achieve a certain thing, or if I'm not in the place that I want to be, I think I get really freaked out and really scared. And for me, again, I think this is a lot of like brown girl conditioning that has happened where it feels like time is running out because we're supposed to do everything in our 20s. And that's something I'm definitely trying to unpack in therapy and trying to like get more kinder with myself to be like, actually, it's fine because it's another year older and like you've also experienced like so much. I think the older I've gotten, instead of the excitement of turning older, I think I've actually become more scared of turning older because of this whole notion of running out of time. And it's really funny because isn't how I used to experience birthdays as a child. I think as a child, I was so excited. Like it was Christmas part two, where I was like, oh my God, I get presents today. This is so cool. And I think the second thing, and my friends really joke about this, I do not like turning odd age numbers. And I feel like my birthday breakdowns have become a lot more intense when I turn an odd aged number. So I feel like my birthday breakdowns when I was like 25, 27, 29 were a lot more intense than 26, 28. But I don't know what it is. I really don't like turning odd age numbers. I think they feel more scary than even age numbers. Odd age means like very aggressive to me. And it's like, oh, they need to like they need to get like stuff done. And I think even numbers seem to be more chill and relaxed. And I think even when I look back at my 20s, my favorite years have actually been the years that I've turned even numbers. Like 22 was really cool, 24 was really cool, 26 was really cool, 28 was really cool. So yeah, like it's such a weird one. I don't know why, but yeah, it's kind of been a running joke now within my friendship group. And like my work colleagues and people who know me, where they're like, it's okay, pretty, you're turning an even number. It's going to be a great age. And I think another thing that's really adding to the birthday breakdowns is COVID plays such a big part in that, because my 20s were never 10 years long. My 20s were actually 7 or 8 years long. So it feels like I am like playing catch up now. So again, I think I said this in a previous episode, but like the mind body connection thingy just doesn't work for me, which I think also triggers birthday breakdowns, because in my brain, I'm like, oh, I'm not there where I need to be. And I don't feel that age. And I think that's more importantly the fact that I don't feel the age that I'm turning. But I'm starting to realize that I think a lot of people don't feel the age that they're turning as well. So we have the iPad again, because there also are some ways to kind of lessen that birthday anxiety, because being anxious isn't fun. It's not great. So hopefully these are some tips that can help. So the first one is celebrate your successes. Go through your camera roll, go through like old notes, old messages, whatever it is, and focus on the things you did do that year. So there's a well-known quote that says, "You are living in one of the prayers that you used to pray for." And I think it's such a beautiful quote. So use this time to list out, instead of all the things you haven't done, use this time to list out all of the things that you have done. And trust me, like when you start and you like think about all the things that you've experienced this year, or the ways you've grown this year, or all the really cool stuff you've done this year, honestly, like you probably won't stop writing, because there will be so much. I think the second tip is do what you want to do. Remember, you don't have to do a big birthday event if you don't want to. Like, do whatever you feel like you want to do, and you can celebrate in whatever way you want to celebrate. So that doesn't need to be like a big, grand birthday bash. Like, I'm turning 30 this year, and I think the expectation is sometimes to do this big party with loads of people, invite everyone you know, but that's not very me. So I'm not going to do that. And it can be something really small, like going on a solo trip, having a spa day, spending time with your friends, doing a sleepover, having a movie night. If all you want to do is watch all your favorite films in pajamas and eat popcorn on the sofa, that is also fine. Next one is create digital boundaries. So this might be not going on social media for the day or weeks before your birthday if you know that's going to trigger you, or just muting messages throughout the day, or even just like deleting social media for the day. Whatever it is that kind of makes you feel like, oh, this is going to be too much for me. I do not want this for this day. I think the next one is journal your feelings and write a letter to yourselves, because birthdays can bring up all sorts of feelings and emotions. So journaling your emotions can really help. So they're not just swishing around like in your brain. You're actually able to kind of get it all out on paper so that your brain feels a lot more clearer and a lot more fresher. And even if that means that you don't refer back to it, that's okay. But a lot of times if you write it out, at least it's there in physical form that you can refer back to it later on if you want to. I think another thing which is a really beautiful practice is actually writing a birthday letter to yourself, and you doing that every year so that you get to open the birthday letter from the year before and then also write one for the year ahead. And I think the final one is have some birthday traditions. Like I said, I think for me, one of the birthday traditions that I have is to go to the Gurdwara, because that is a way for me to say thank you, and also just to like feel peace and presence, and also just feel like I'm having the blessings for the year ahead. And I think, yeah, I really like bringing in my birthday in a very like peaceful and spiritual way. So, how do I feel about my birthday? I think a big part is the fact that even though I'm turning 30, I think I'm still in denial about the fact that I'm turning 30, because it doesn't feel real to me. Like, even when I'm recording this episode, I just sent invites for my 30th birthday. And again, I'm like reading it and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm turning 30 at all. But also in my brain, it feels like I'm turning 29. It doesn't feel like I'm turning 30. And I think I also felt that when like all of my other birthdays, like when I was turning 29, I actually felt like I was turning 28. So again, it doesn't feel real to me as well. And especially for someone who does suffer from birthday breakdowns, this is the most calmest I've ever felt turning a certain age. Like normally by now I would be like really stressing out. I would feel really anxious. I'm like, I'm not where I want to be. And honestly, I am the furthest away from where I want to be, because so much in my personal life has happened in the last 6 months that I am so behind what I think I want out of life. But maybe that's just not what I want out of life. And now it's actually quite refreshing that I'm turning this new decade and I actually get to build the life that I truly, really do want to do. And actually, one of the things that I am doing for my 30th birthday is one, I'm going on a solo trip, which I'm really excited about because it's my first recreational solo trip. I've done like work trips abroad, I've lived abroad by myself, but I don't really think they count. So this is quite exciting. I think the second one is also I'm doing a 30 before 30 list. and I'm doing all these little things that I haven't done yet that I really want to learn and do before I turn 30. So like one of them is like learn how to play PlayStation because I didn't know how to do that. I was a Nintendo Wii girl. Also just like go to the cinema by myself because again, I haven't done that. So like doing all these little things that I wish I'd done in my 20s that I've just not been able to do. And they're just like really small things that will just give me joy. Again, trying to get really comfortable with saying that I'm turning 30, but in my brain, like it's still not computing, if that makes sense. I think also this is the first year that I don't have any rigid birthday goals. I think before I used to put like a lot of pressure on I need to achieve this by a certain age or I need to achieve that by a certain age. And I think now that I'm turning a new decade, honestly, I just want to have good habits that me in my 60s and 70s will be thankful for. So a lot of that is focusing on like skincare and my health and my fitness. And I've been running so much more and like waking up at a certain time, just implementing these really kind of good habits so that I'm still strong and healthy the older I'm getting. And I think something that the future me will be thankful for as well. I think also like I really feel like these are the years to really build the life that I want to build and not the life that I thought that I was supposed to have based on other people's standards and expectations. So there's been a lot of growing, a lot of healing, a lot of life experiences that has happened in my 20s. And I do feel like in our 20s, there's such an expectation to chase all these milestones like graduation, grad job, house, travel, relationship, kids, whatever it is. And I do think that now I'm trying to get away from the milestone and focus more on the journey and the journey of what it is and trying to be a lot more intuitive that way. And I think that's actually quite cool because I am definitely not the same person that I was compared to like the start of my 20s and even my mid 20s and even my late 20s. Like every year we grow, every year we evolve. And I think that's actually really nice to be able to kind of take that look back and take those 10 years to be like, wow, so much has changed, both like mentally, emotionally, physically, so much has changed. And I think for birthdays themselves, the way I see birthdays is also really different. And I really just see them as a way to celebrate with the people I loved, and there's no expectations. So, yeah, I think it's just good people, good vibes, good memories, and just having that time that I think sometimes we're very limited to based on how busy everyone is to just spend together and to have those memories together. So, I think that's really special. So, going back, do I love or hate my birthday? I think I'm still very much in camp love. I still really do love my birthday. I think there have been times over my 20s where I've put so much pressure and expectation on my birthdays and on certain milestones that I'm actually like, oh, I don't really like my birthday. But I think it's also just about how you reframe it in your brain. And I think for me, I'm now able to reframe it in a way to be like, yeah, it's about celebrating the fact that I'm older and it's celebrating the fact that life is amazing and life is beautiful and there's so many different experiences and just being grateful for everything that has come my way. So yeah, I actually still really do love my birthday in the grand scheme of things. But for now, I actually feel really chilling and like really calm and like really excited. So that was this episode around birthdays. I really hope this helped and hopefully this was something that you were able to relate to. Also in the comments, please let me know if there's any birthday traditions that you do within your family or within your friends and how do you feel about birthdays? Has anyone kind of had this whole idea of a birthday breakdown? And also, I just want to know, am I the only one who doesn't like turning odd ages of numbers? Like, because I do feel like I am the only one, but I can't be. So, yeah, let me know in the comments down below. And like always, please don't forget to follow and subscribe to this podcast. Leave a review and a 5-star rating if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And also, don't forget to follow me on social media, Instagram and TikTok at Pretty Personal, because that is where I share a lot of the behind the scenes of this podcast. And also, it's also a great way to kind of build this online community. And I always love meeting and chatting to new people. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed the episode. Take care. See you soon. Bye.